All right. Now let's check in on another gentleman we haven't checked in on a few weeks. The congratulations podcast popped up in my algorithm, and I said, let's give this a whirl. And Chris D'Elia, I don't even blame him. Here's the difference between like Chris D'Elia and someone like Opie, who we just talked about. Opie has been exposed like, oh, he was not a great broadcaster. He was carried by Anthony and Jim.
Yep.
I don't even think that's the case with D'Elia. I think this is just like the madness. I think if you put anyone in a room alone like this, and they just had to talk to themselves, like Burr used to be great at it, and then over the years just kind of it was the same sort of, you kind of knew the talking points he had and everything. Very few people are great at just sitting in a room and riffing. And that's what D'Elia has made his podcast. It's just him and a microphone. And so you get stuff like we're about to hear.
Going to Australia, got the passports. I have a passport and my wife has a passport, but my sons don't. And my sons are 4 and 1 and they had to get their passports. And it's so funny. There are little pictures on it, especially Billy's. It's like, it's got no business being getting a passport, you know? Like, hey, it's him. Hey, this is him, dude. You don't need a passport. This is just the baby. So let's just bring him in. We're going to bring him in the country. It's going to be fine. He's just going to do pretty much he's going to just pretty much eat and poop and sleep and cry. Just like kind of like his dad, honestly. But his dad does need a passport because he's 44 and Billy's 1. So he doesn't need a passport. So just let me bring this baby in, huh?
Like, these are thoughts you don't need to have out loud, you know? Like, I get when you're getting a passport for a baby, you're like, oh, this is crazy. What do they think he's a terrorist? Come on. But there are reasons you need to document a human being traveling between countries. I like the idea that Chris D'Elia is advocating for underage trafficking of individuals.
Oh, shit.
Like, Chris D'Elia opens his podcast now. That's how much cancel culture doesn't exist, folks. You know? Well, I used to talk about cancel culture till I was blue in the face. And then finally I realized this guy's selling out theaters and he's accused of rape, legitimately. And he starts his podcast with like, can I move kids across the border without paperwork? Come on.
Get off my back, feds.
Yeah, I don't know, Chris. They need to know you're not kidnapping the child, I guess. It's silly, but...
The last name needs to match one of the 2 adults that are here.
But this should be a thing where, like, maybe you think it. Maybe you say it to your wife, whatever. It's not podcast fodder, you know?
But he is a deep thinker, as we're about to hear.
I mean, the lack of depth in this guy's fucking skull. Listen to this moron.
There was a kid named James when I was a kid. I was in New Jersey in elementary school, and I would say, and one time he was doing swings on the swing set, and apparently he saw. I talked about this before. Apparently he saw some movie the night before because he was like, hey, Chris, ask me if I have any ideals. And he would just he said, hey, Chris, ask me if I have any ideals. And I said, do you have any ideals? And he says, nope, all fresh out ideals. And then jumped off the swing. And that's what he would do. And then he made me do it 5 times. And his name was James. And I remember he had a jacket that was blue. It was too big, dude. Who is that kid?
Hold on a second. I want to hear the great question that he's about to ask. But just listen to the story we just heard. And picture you're hanging with your buddies. Or you're at a party of some kind, whatever. You're talking to someone. And they go on that rant about a friend. Oh, it's so crazy. My friend James, he used to say, hey, ask me if I have any ideals. And I would be like, do you have any ideals? And he would be like, no, I don't have any ideals. And oh my God, that kid was so crazy. He would do the craziest stuff. And then the guy gets done with that rant. Do you have any response other than, nice, man. Anyways, I got to get going.
Oh, actually, I don't have time.
It's an insane rant to go on that no one would give a fuck about. I can't imagine. Never mind thousands of people. That's the thing is like, I see people on like the Fighter and the Kid subreddit make fun of these guys because their numbers are down. I have the exact opposite thought where I'm like, 40,000 people watched this. What to what end? They can't all be to mock him. Some people must be enjoying this, and I can't figure out why.
Some movie the night before because he was like, hey, Chris, ask me if I have any ideals. And he would just he said, hey, Chris, ask me if I have any ideals. And I said, "Do you have any ideals?"
Terrible story.
"Oh, all fresh out ideals," and then jumped off the swing. That's what he would do. And then he made me do it 5 times. And his name was James. And I remember he had a jacket that was blue. It was too big, dude. Who is that kid now? You know, who do people grow up to be? You know?
Yeah, man.
God, that's crazy.
Fucking nuts.
People out
Oh,
there.
that's nuts, man. What is life, anyways, man?
Do you have any,
What if none of this is? What if we're living in a fucking simulation, brother?
Do you have any friends from elementary school still?
I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going away with one this weekend.
So
I
do
can't
I.
record on Sunday. Yeah.
So do I. Not that crazy. And he's like, wonder what that kid's up to. Like,
My buddy Joe, who I'm going away with, and when we were young, I mean, this is fucking wild. Get ready for your mind. I hope you're wearing a hat today, Craig,
I'm wearing a hat.
because it better secure your mind so it's not blown out the back. This kid used to wear a Jeff Gordon jacket when we were in like 5th grade,
Oh man.
and now he's got a wife and a kid.
If I had the board up, I would have hit a gay drop. Jeff Gordon sucks.
It's fucking banana. That guy grew up and has a life now. Also, he told the most uninteresting story. Hey, this kid James, he wore a blue coat and would say shit that kids would say. Can you believe that guy's a fucking adult now, man?
Yeah, I had
Yes, Chris.
my friend Matt in elementary school said he was gonna he wore a camouflage jacket and said he was gonna grow up to be in special forces. And he
Mhm.
did.
I use this phrase a lot, but I want you to understand I mean it literally. Get the fuck out. Stand up and walk. Get the fuck out of here. That's crazy.
It's fucking nuts.
You knew someone who grew up?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he did not stay the same age.
That's all of this, by the way, is subtly Chris being like, I wish kids never grew up. I would just wish every adult was a child, you know? There's nothing a psychologist would find odd about that.
Out there somewhere. Not many of them died. Some of them did. A lot of them did because of sheer volume, but the percentage of them are just alive and just around, you know?
Jesus.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, Chris.
Wow.
People exist.
Get the
This is
fuck-
like, and you know what? I gotta say, this is where maybe some sort of mental testing or something should be done. Because is it wrong that Chris was talking to girls who may have been underage or borderline? Sure. Is it creepy? Absolutely. But if you're talking about mental capacity, is that who he belongs with? 15-year-olds.
all the middle schoolers out there, if you're looking to get in Chris's pants, just tell him you got a great ideal and you're his.
Oh my God! Just like James with a blue coat.
Come here, I'll buy you a chocolate milk.
But that is like if Chris said this to a 15-year-old and was like, "Hey, man, you know all the kids you know now, they're going to be moms and dads soon." That kid might be like, "Holy shit! I never thought you're fucking crazy, man.
Are you serious?
How are you doing this? You're a deep guy." So I get why that's who Chris fraternizes with, because they're the only people on the planet who could possibly find this horseshit interesting.
Well, let's let him tell us about being famous.
All right, good.
Kind of, it's when you get to a certain level of fame, it's not gay or straight. You just kind of kiss, you know? You just kind of kiss.
I'm
And you
sorry?
don't really think about if it's a man or a woman. You just go, "Hey, what's up?" And they stroke sometimes. They don't care. They don't care. You know, they're just 30. They're just 30 and so famous and just kiss, dude. They just kiss. They don't give, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he was a guy. I forgot. I don't know. I wasn't thinking about it. Who cares?" Stroke, squirt. And
See, he is a child. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not advocating for any laws to be passed or anything, but maybe let's give the guy a little leeway now that we think about it, because he is like a 12-year-old, you know?
Well, he's about to tell. I mean, we heard about his friend from elementary school.
Well, just one more thing on that, though. I wanted to say is that he's like, listen, gay, straight, people just kiss. All this is subtext for what he's like, gay, straight, 20, 16, people just fucking, they swap fluids. What's the big deal, man?
Golly, like what a homo.
I guess.
Aaron Hernandez documentary. Shout out.
Oh, okay, nice.
So we heard about his elementary school friends. What about
Yeah.
Bill from high school?
Oh man, when you hear about this son of a gun Bill from high school, but listen to the decorum that Chris was able to handle this situation with.
I didn't really know about him too much, but he was a bully, and I remember he had a girlfriend, and then she broke up with him, and then we started dating, and he got real mad at me, and I thought he was gonna beat me up, and whatever, dude. He never did though.
Cool at the gym.
Hold on, yeah. And all this is by just him being like, so I was the fucking man, like all the chicks wanted me, and like they would leave their boyfriends for me, and it's not even really a big deal. Like I don't get why do you guys care about it so much? Why do you keep asking me? It's like, I don't know, Chris, you brought it up, man.
This is your solo show.
If it's not a big deal, why are you talking to me about it? I don't know Bill from high school. I certainly didn't ask about him.
He never did though. And there's still time, I guess. But also he did break into my car later that week and threw all the stuff around it in my Suburban. And I was like, I don't really care. It's my mom's car,
Okay, so not your car.
This sounds made up anyway. It's like he's thinking of what to say.
It does sound like that, but let's pretend it's real for a moment. I didn't even care. It's my mom's car. What a sweet guy. What a guy that really takes other people into consideration,
He seems like the kind of wealthy guy that like wouldn't help his parents out.
Oh no, he obviously didn't give a fuck. He's like, fuck, mom, shut up. Like, you guys could just buy another car. Who gives a shit?
He could pay them back for the life that they, gave him. But he'd be like, remember that time with the Suburban? Fuck you, mom.
Fucking Bill, right, ma?
Like,
he still hasn't beat me up though.
Broke in your car and threw all the shit, and then he used my gas card or my dad's gas card, I guess, in like Simi Valley.
Mom didn't have a job.
His tank, and like we just canceled it, and everyone's like, "Oh no!" And I was just like, "I don't really care,"
Sweet guy
with his chick. I don't really care, man.
Yeah, this guy robbed my family, but what do I care?
I don't care. That's fucking.
I was just being rad.
You know what's gay as hell? Caring.
Yeah, it is. I don't know why Chris didn't think of this though. Bill from high school, probably an adult now, probably the same age as James from middle school. That's what's really fucking nuts.
I miss James.
Well, we all do.
But so hear what he has to say about TV intros, Mike.
Oh yeah, he goes. So I just had on KMS today, as we record this, Clemmer and Kirk were having a lovely discussion about the movie industry and where it's headed and things. This is what that conversation would have sounded like if Kirk on his way into the studio was hit by a bus, but still managed to crawl into the studio. He would have had a similar take to the dreck that Chris is about to spill on to the microphone.
You know how they do stuff for TV shows? Like they'll make music for the intro. Don't do that. There's so many dope songs out there already. Pick one of those. And pay for it, you cheapskate. You're gonna have to pay for someone to make it anyway. Pay for it. I found out that boom dum dum boom dum. It was already a song. So I'm like, this is how it should always be.
Is it The Sopranos?
There's songs out there. Choose from the catalog. Pick that song, if it's a song that will be on the, WB, like Gilmore Girls, just already picked up closing time, one last call for alcohol, and then nine in the night. I know what you, whatever that one is, or if it's a cool ass song, right? Oh no.
Right, he says.
That one, right? That would be cool.
You know how rights work?
I like when he says right, like we're all at home nodding. Yes, Chris. My thoughts exact. We think it and you say it, Chrissy.
You know what the thing is though? There are people that listen to this when he goes right. They're like, yeah.
Well, that's my thing. Is like, is his thing sounding like he's not like drunk, but like a few beers in, or maybe like done coke or something, where it's like it's just kind of horse shit talk that you would have under the influence. You know what I mean? Where you're like, fucking TV intros, man. Like, what? Why the best songs have already been made, brother? Just fucking ride it out, man. Just take a song that's already been written. What do you need a new song for, man? The good ones are already out there.
See, I don't think he's going for drunk sounding, like a couple beers or whatever. I think he's going for legit kindergarten.
Well, that's his demographic, as far as dating goes. But his audience is a little older than that.
Who speaks kindergarten better than him? Nobody.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, like to everything he says, there's this tone of like he's kind of a valley girl, Crystalia.
Exactly.
That's really what he is, and that's why he was so popular with girls. I think is because he's a bimbo.
I like my iced coffee.
He's a vapid, thoughtless bimbo.
I don't know what that means.
But you know what's weird is like when he's on the golden hour, he's like the alpha in the room. Like he's kind of the smart guy of the three.
Who's on that show again? Eric Griffin.
Griffin and Brendan Schaub.
Well, this is gonna be tough to say.
He is the smart guy, right?
He's leaps and bounds the best comic in that room too.
That's what's nuts. Is like, Chris, do that. Surround yourself. Look what I've done here. I'm not a bright man, you know? You surround yourself with certain people. Not you, Craig. And not you, Hackride. The others, I mean.
You should talk about binge culture now. That wasn't enough. That TV. Let's talk about.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about how it's easy to watch.
He puts the streaming service on its ear right now.
Binge culture, right? Now they're trying to go back to, we'll release the first 2 or 3, and then every week we'll release another. So now it's going back to appointment television, which I guess is not, I guess it's not like exactly appointment television, because it's not 7 p.m. on a Wednesday. It comes out. I understand it's just, they'll say like, yeah, well, we drop it on Wednesday now. This new show, Dark Matter. I saw the first 2 episodes of Dark Matter. And then I'm like, oh, now I'm hooked. And I can't watch the third one. The third one comes out Wednesday. Just Wednesday you can watch it. So, okay. So, but it is kind of appointment television in a way, because it comes out midnight on Wednesday. So I'm not going to sit up and wait for it. So I can watch it anytime on Wednesday. So I guess it's, so I
see, this is what bugs me about his cadence here. Is like, he thinks it's cute to talk of like a kid who's on a lot of sugar.
Exactly.
You gave your kid one too many soda pops.
He's like the kid in like elementary school, like that finds the warheads.
Yes. Yeah, it's that you know what, you're exactly right, because it's not quite like a guy on blow or something. It's more a kid who's had a lot of sugar, and he's like, but mom, but the show comes out every Tuesday, but I don't want to wait till Tuesday because I can't, because I've seen the first 2 and I really want to watch it right now.
Actual appointment television. But I'm just like, I waited then until the next Wednesday, and I saw it the next Wednesday, and I already forgot everything. Okay? It's been a week, and your boy forgot the whole first 2 episodes. Oh, and they think they're going to be cute with that recap? They think they're going to be cute with the recap.
Hey, man, this is where you'd have to talk to, like, it feels like someone holding a gun on you. You're like, hey, man, no one thought they were being cute. Just a recap to remind you what happened last week. Not a scheme. It's all going to be cool.
I want to point this out, by the way, for all the sighted people that are watching along right now.
Please.
He's got a Life Rips sign behind him.
Oh, life does rip.
Yep.
Just catchphrase.
8 letters. Each one is a different font.
Oh, that's really cool, man.
There's 2 eyes.
That's, again, this is the depth of Crystalia, where, like, you know, a 7th grader would look at that and go, fucking awesome.
Exactly. There's 2 eyes. There's an eye in life and an eye in rips. Both are different.
That's pretty wild.
Pretty cool.
That, my friends, is how you know life rips.
I don't even give a fuck. He's like, I don't give a fuck. This guy stole from my family.
I got so many fucking different fonts, I can't even count them, brother.
I don't care about my fonts either, dude. Fuck them.
Here's what you missed. Oh, dude, hey, start it over. Hey, from jump, all of it. Hey, so much shit has happened for the past week. You're going to create binge television and then take it away from us?
They didn't take it away, Chris. Just watch it later, all at once. You know?
Right.
You can watch it every week for the next 8 weeks, or you can wait 8 weeks and watch it in a day. It's not that complicated. No one took anything from you. Except the business.
Well, we talked about TV, talked about binge watching. Where's that all happen? Netflix.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, we had a conversation about this today, but this is as if there was all the perspective was just ripped out of that conversation. And you have left Chris D'Elia's thoughts on it.
And make appointment TV? How about this, dude? Netflix is opening up movie theaters.
Get the fuck out of here.
Hey!
Chris's entire existence is delivery.
Who fucking
Like-
talks like this, honestly?
Whoever taught him that if you say something different, it's funny,
So,
should be shot in the streets.
My Twitter at CraigVGS. If you find what he's about to say funny or you enjoy the way he talks, message me there. And I'm just curious if there's people that exist. I won't out you. I just want to know.
Well, that's the thing, is like there have to be, right? But yeah, I guess we just don't know them. So yeah, message to any people out there, because sometimes when we do, particularly Chris D'Elia segments and Brendan Schaub a little bit, but particularly D'Elia, we'll get comments from people that don't know the show that are like, "Oh, these guys are just jealous of Chris D'Elia."
Yeah.
We're looking. No. Let us know. Like, if we're missing something, explain it to us. Because just changing the inflection of something, I don't think makes it necessarily funny.
Right. Message me. Let me know. Tell me why. Tell me what I got to look out for, and I won't disclose your name.
Change our minds.
Yes. Just listen to this.
And make appointment TV? How about this, dude? Netflix is opening up movie theaters. Hey! So what then? The last 10 years was just bullshit? You were just trying to get into the theater game? Right? You started saying like, hey, let's just do...
By the way, this is just because he got arrested for his character portrayal in You.
Well, and he had a Netflix movie ripped away from him.
That's right. So that's all this is.
DVDs, we'll just send them over to you. And then, hey, we'll just stream it. Hey, we'll stream it. That's the best part about it, is that you don't even have to go to the theater. And then they're like, well, actually, we want to be up for Academy Awards, so we got to release some of the shows and some of the movies in theaters, and that's okay. We'll release some of the movies in theaters, and for like a week. This way, we get the credit for the thing, and we get an Oscar. Idris Elba could get an Oscar nomination.
Who has a problem with this?
Make sure everyone gets it.
This is a straw man argument if I've ever seen one. Like, who is he railing against here?
Big Netflix.
The idea that Netflix is also showing the movies in theaters and on your television? Who's this hurting?
So basically all that's going to happen is like, so if The Irishman gets made, it gets a theatrical release in the Netflix theaters. It
Fucking bullshit guy.
It qualifies for all the awards because they get ripped off sometimes.
Fucking, you're telling me that Netflix is getting... No.
You just peeked and none of that came through.
Fucking Netflix is doing movie theaters.
Okay.
My microphone can't pick up my Chris D'Elia impression.
Your mic's like, you might want to stop doing that.
Thank you.
That chick from The Crown gets an nomination, and then what? And then what? Well, Martin Scorsese wants to do a Netflix movie. All right, well, we'll release Killers of the Flower Moon into the thing, and now I got to sit at home and wait for the thing, and then I got Netflix. Then I got movies.
You can hear his
They're out
kids in the
there that,
background,
like,
by the way. Did you notice that? It's the second time I've heard it.
Those aren't his kids.
Like you can hear it. Listen.
I got to sit at home and wait for the thing, and then I got Netflix. Then I got movies that are out there that like you on Netflix, and you can't even see them yet.
It's funny to watch a man have a thought of, do I go be a father or continue this fake rant against Netflix?
Well, judging by the way he talks to his wife and all this shit, he doesn't give a fuck, and he's not raising those kids.
No.
You fucked us, you know? You really did.
No,
That last
you.
rant.
They fucked you, sir.
Yeah, us. So don't lump us into this. They didn't digitally replace me with Tignataro.
Same body type.
But that last rant that he went on, where he's like, like my nephew, he gets a little out in front of his words sometimes. He has so many thoughts that he can't get out fast enough, and you go, "Oh, that's cute! Isn't that adorable?" When he's like, and then the Netflix did. He's always ranting about Netflix. Also, he's like, and then Netflix bought a theater, but they have a streaming service, and you could binge on there, but now you can't. And you go, "Oh, that's cute," because he's a little kid. I think Chris thinks he's adorable. I don't even think he thinks he doesn't think of himself as funny. He's like, I am adorable.
Ooh, maybe after Quincy's done, we do like Chris D'Elia TV shows. We have to do all of them because they get canceled so quick.
Yeah, they've been scrubbed from existence. I don't think the Workaholics episode exists anymore. Wasn't that taken down?
That got taken down. I don't know. Was it Undateable? I think. Was the show.
Probably, yeah.
I remember watching that. I think that was, weren't they live? Wasn't that a live sitcom?
I don't think all of them were, but that became their thing. Like, that's why I think they got kind of notoriety, is it was live. Rick Glassman was on that show.
Ever since Pauly Shore shit on him, I've heard his name nonstop.
I like Rick Glassman.
I enjoy the title of this one. It's called "If I Were Single" because it's like I don't think anything fucking changes.
It's crazy. I don't watch every episode of Congratulations with Chris D'Elia. Not even close. But I can only assume this happens in every episode because it just so happens to occur in every one that I turn on.
And outward, I go like this. Well, I want to be a team player. I want to be like a... I tell you what, if everybody wants to watch the first episode of the second season of the Jinx, and I'm the only one who doesn't want to, then that's okay. And they go, let's give it a try. And I go, fuck myself out of that one, didn't I? But I do it inward, right? And the outward is like, yeah, it's all good.
Well, if it's confusing anyone, I want to explain the struggle that he's dealing with. His wife and a guest, someone that I assume listeners of the podcast would know, I'm not familiar with, David or something. His wife and a guest wanted the new season of the Jinx came out. And his wife loved the Jinx when it came out, so she was like, I'd like to watch the new episodes of the Jinx. Seems to be a perfectly reasonable request. Season 1 of the Jinx was great. I didn't watch season 2 because my thought was like, what are they going to add that I don't already know?
He admitted it on a hot mic.
Yeah, like Robert Durst went to prison and died, you know?
Right.
So I didn't watch season 2, but I understand the impulse to want to watch it. And Chris is talking about this like, this fucking bitch has imprisoned me. And now I have to watch the first episode of the Jinx. Now, the agreement that they came to, and can you believe this fucking twat wife of his? The agreement that they came to is, well, we'll watch one episode, just give it a shot, see if we like it. And Chris is like, fine. Fine if I have to.
I guess.
Like,
but I'm not eating my vegetables. Ooh, someone's a bad boy.
I know I'm happy, but like, see, this is the crazy part of me. I just go, if I was single, dude, I'd be watching Good Boy. I'd be in the middle of Good Boy right now. I'd be in the middle of the movie. Like, you know, people are like, man, if I was single, you know how much pussy I'd get. Dude.
What's that accent?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely, I'll tell you who it's not, and that's Chris D'Elia. Chris D'Elia is not a guy who says, if I was single, do you know how much pussy I'd get? Because a wedding ring meant nothing to him.
If I was
what a completely non-self-aware point to make on your podcast.
No shit.
People are like, man, if I was single, you know how much pussy I'd get. Dude, hey, if I was single, do you know how many movies I want to watch? I would watch. and I
Jesus
already watched
Christ.
it if I want to watch. You know,
Fuck.
I kind of like try to bully whoever's around me into watching what I want to watch.
So he went to say I go to bully. He went to say my wife and then stopped himself
Yep.
and said whoever's around me.
Well, definitely not my wife, but just whoever's around me.
Watch
And
whatever.
we know from the documentary, the great the Chris D'Elia problem, that great documentary. We know that the way Chris bullies people into getting what he wants is Kristen D'Elia says, "You know what? I'd like to watch the first episode of The Jinx season 2." And Chris goes, "If we watch it, I'm gonna kill myself." And then Kristen has to go, "Okay, we'll watch a movie then."
She's eventually gonna
Sorry,
be like-
I suggested it.
she's eventually just gonna start putting the Jinx on every day until he does it.
It's also like it's not the craziest thing. Like Chris talks about like pop culture and stuff, like watching a documentary that people were talking about. It's not the craziest thing in the world, you know?
He doesn't have podcasts that I'm sure it'll come up.
What a terrible example. Like if she wanted to watch some garbage reality show or a chick flick or something. She's like, "Hey, do you want to watch this very popular documentary?" And Chris is like, "Oh, you bitch!
You cunt.
Why do you do this to me?"
and
It's a
I
genuine
already
laugh.
watch whatever I want to watch. You know, I kind of like try to bully whoever's around me into watching what I want to watch. But I'm trying to, you know, trying to be a little bit more, you know. So we watched the first episode of The Jinx, and I wasn't into it.
Much like my marriage. I wasn't into it. It was
Not in-
symbolic of really my whole existence.
He's just not into it. Not his thing. It's just a thing I don't like doing.
You bitch! He's just like, "Hey, you want to watch the first episode of this documentary?" Fuck! Why?
Oh yeah, I love
Why
Doc.
do you do this to me?
Want to watch Making a Murderer? Next we have him talking about interviewing people.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. So, again, I maybe I'm reading too much into it. I think the things that Chris talks about, his real perspective is not exactly on the surface, but you have to look through a sheet of, razor thin tissue paper to see what he's really talking about.
Dude, hey, but no. Yeah. See, dude, I don't know what it takes to be like Joe Rogan, uber successful, like for interviewing people. I could never do it. Like Theo Vaughn,
We know.
killing it. I don't care how you eat, because you either have to sit across from somebody like this, or you have to sit across from somebody who's telling you something that actually makes sense. And then you're like, but I just want to think of what is going on in my head. You know?
No.
What's really working, Chris?
I wonder what is going on in his head.
These fucking rants are really working. Where he looks at Joe Rogan and is like, "No thanks."
The thing is, though, it is working.
For D'Elia?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very successful. I think his podcast numbers are down from what they used to be.
Let me check.
But yeah, he's extremely successful.
Let's take a peek at what this last episode got.
Well, they do well, but I think it's the same as like The Fighter and the Kid, where it's like they're still doing okay, but not what they used to be.
So, yeah, this episode had 40. Yeah, well, when he first came back, like that first episode, like his apology or whatever, got like 300,000 views.
Sure.
This,
But he used to be, you look at the guys he was way ahead of, like, Bad Friends does, I think, a couple 100,000 views an episode.
yeah, this
Rick
this,
Glassman, the guy we just mentioned, does, I don't know, 70, 80,000 views an episode.
this episode has 45,000 views.
So, a successful podcast for sure. But the trajectory he was on, I think that's what makes him look at guys like Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan and be like, "Oh, fuck, I wish I was doing that."
There's a video called Brian Callen and Chris D'Elia talk about moms. How many views do you think that's got?
17,000.
35.
There you go. Good for them.
That's crazy. That, like 5 years ago, that would have got 500,000.
Well, we don't know what it is, but sure.
What's this one?
What, are we
different.
doing? What is this exercise?
I just like seeing how far they've fallen and pointing it out.
Well, he's still a successful guy. That's not really the point. The point of this was that he brings up Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan and is like, he's pretending that he doesn't want to have their careers, you know?
Theo Vaughn gets like 4 million views a video.
Massively popular. And the thing is, like, he actually used two bad examples because Joe Rogan is like a serious interviewer, whereas Theo Vaughn is very silly.
Right.
And even some not like his serious questions are kind of dumb and offbeat, you know? So he's actually using bad examples because he's showing that you don't have to be the same type of guy. You can be yourself and be a good interviewer. But I will give Chris credit for this. His self-awareness is good enough that he knows he would be a terrible interviewer because he's very self-involved and not interested in other people.
That's true.
So kudos to him.
This is him talking about different styles.
All right.
I see Theo Vaughn interviewing like a guy, and I mean, his podcast is so successful, and I'm just like, I don't want to interview that guy.
So
I don't want to. How do you have a conversation with somebody for fucking 2 hours about that?
You do it with yourself, Chris. You're doing it alone in a room. Just add a person there, and bang, you're done.
Remember your ideal story? Remember that?
Oh, imagine how much that would have been enhanced if fucking Bobby Lee was sitting there to giggle with you, you know?
I would ask Rogan about, like, how do you... I was like, if you had all the money in the world, would you still do the podcast? And he said, I think I would still do it, but I just wouldn't do it as much. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, because I love having conversations with people.
Can you imagine if Joe Rogan had, like, I don't know, $450 million?
Right.
You think he'd keep doing the podcast?
Would you quit?
That's a good point, Chris. What if Joe Rogan had a lot of money?
Does he like forget? Does he like block everyone out? Everything? If it's not like a 12-year-old girl, he just doesn't give a shit.
I don't know, because it's weird because he's acting like this conversation with Rogan happened yesterday. And clearly it didn't, because Joe Rogan has made hundreds of millions of dollars from the podcast. So I don't even understand the conversation.
I think Rogan actually took down his episodes with Dalia too.
I remember that was the case at a time. I wonder if those episodes went up with like Apple, like the re-upload.
Let's check. I'll check.
We don't have to. Craig is intent on derailing this podcast.
I was gonna play the clip and just look.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, I guess that's where we're different.
Wow. I guess that's where we're different. I guess like Joe Rogan is really successful and people find him interesting. And I guess I'm more obsessed with like 16-year-old pussy.
I would have loved to have seen Dalia interview like Dr. McCullough, the guy who patented the vaccine.
But bro, the thing is like, what even are vaccines?
I don't even call them shots. I call them ouchies.
And Peter McCullough's like, well, I explained this to you already, but like, I think why do I need a vaccine for like chicken pox and smallpox and polio? Like, why do I need all these fucking vaccines, bro? I don't know. They do different things, Chris. I don't know how to get this through to you.
Holy fuck. I didn't think this was going to end. But we were on our last Dalia clip, and it's just him coping.
Yeah, it's funny because we watched Callan go through the same thing, but it's funny to watch these guys in real time sometimes be like, fuck, I almost had it.
I mean, I like to have conversations with people, but not about big issues. I want to talk to them about why they like the pants they're wearing. And
why?
That stuff does it. That's, you know, I'm a niche audience, you know?
Well, why? You're right. Why? But also, like, just, you could do that.
He could do that.
What the fuck's stopping you? It would be a lot better. Like I said, with people, Chris is much better than this. It would be a lot better than Chris ranting and just thinking every sound he makes, every different inflection that he can make within his voice is entertaining.
Well, the problem I think he won't say it, is the incoming texts after he asked people to come on aren't coming back.
Probably so. Yeah. People don't really want to associate with Chris D'Elia, which is probably true. Now, I wonder if that stigma's going away at all with time. Time heals all gaping hymen wounds, you know?
I'm never gonna make $200 million on Spotify because I want to talk about how much bacon you eat, and it's just
What?
like
A shot at
fine,
Rogan?
I guess.
Go back. Let me hear that again.
Like there's nobody's gonna. I'm never gonna make $200 million on Spotify because I want to talk about how much bacon you eat.
Oh, it's actually not a shot at Rogan. Here's what's funny. He's saying he's so offbeat and niche, which, by the way, he wasn't. He was actually like mainstream. Like he was a cornball, which made him popular with like young girls and stuff. He was not an alt comic by any means. But he's saying like, listen, I'm this zany guy that likes to talk about how people like their bacon.
See,
And Spotify will never pay for that.
I took that as like a shot at Rogan because they paid him so much money to talk basically about elk meat.
Here's how dumb he is. He doesn't realize what he's describing is like Rogan just talks about his interests with guests, and Spotify gave him $200 million. And Chris D'Elia is like, oh, I'm so quirky that the industry is afraid of me. It's like, no, I think there's a different reason they're not touching you, Chris.
Every episode, Rogan talks about chimpanzees ripping people's faces off.
Yeah, right. His interests are niche, to say the least.
That's fine, I guess.
Seems totally fine.
That is our boy Chris D'Elia.
Poor Chris. But yeah, I guess that's what he does every week. Like I don't watch every week, but every time I tune in, we have these clips where it's just him and these bizarre rants that he goes on, and like clockwork, will always throw in a shot at his wife and talk about how he wishes he wasn't married. So good for Chris.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get to the boogie stuff, but you want to hit Tim Dillon real quick?
Sure.
I thought Tim Dillon had a very funny. We talked about Unfrosted.